Welcome to the tutorial on completing the balance of payment or BoP form. In this video, we will guide you through the process of filling out the new PDF BoP form. Let's get started. Please note that the layout of this form is different from the previous version, but the information required remains the same. Let's begin by understanding some key points. Mandatory fields are outlined in red boxes, indicating that they must be filled in. To provide guidance, tooltip pop-ups appear when you hover your cursor over certain fields. However, not all fields have tooltips. If you have a Standard Bank account, make sure it is active. You can either select your ZAR account or your foreign currency account under the bank section. Validations are now in place to ensure that information is entered correctly. Double-check that you are entering the correct information, even if the fields are not outlined in red. The payment currency is the currency requested by your beneficiary for the payment. You can use the drop-down arrow to select from a list of currencies. The most commonly used currencies are at the top of the list. The payment amount currency is the currency in which your beneficiary has invoiced you. The value date field has a calendar embedded for easy selection. If you have secured a rate for your transaction through a dealer or one of the bank's trading systems, select Yes. Otherwise, no. The reason for payment needs to be selected. Depending on the BoP category you choose, certain additional fields may become mandatory. A maximum of 20 different BoP code categories can be added in a single payment instruction. For example, if you select BoP category 101, the invoice number field becomes mandatory. Similarly, if you select BoP category 103 or its subcategories, the MRN number and transfer document fields become mandatory. Remember, you only need to complete the mandatory fields. If a field is not mandatory, it will not be highlighted in red. For BoP category 201 and some BoP codes related to service, none of the additional fields are mandatory. However, you will be asked whether the payment is related to a party. In the Reason for Payment section, also enter the amount per BoP code. In the Resident Party Details section, select whether you are an individual or an entity. Depending on your selection, the corresponding fields will be made available. Remember, the fields like tax number, VAT number, and custom client number are driven by the selected BoP category. In the Beneficiary Party Details section, enter the account details provided by your customer. Select whether you are paying an individual or an entity. Select the country from the drop-down list. The most frequently used countries appear at the top of the list. If you hover over the beneficiary bank details, a tooltip will provide guidance on what is required. You can select from 3 different charges by using the drop-down. In some cases, the origin country of goods or services may differ from the beneficiary's country. The question, "Did you receive SARB approval for this transaction?" applies to individuals who have obtained approval from the Reserve Bank. If you have an approval number, select Yes and provide the relevant details. In the third-party section, if you are making the payment on behalf of one or more entities, you will need to provide third-party information. If you select Yes, scroll down to complete the third-party details in the Enabled section. Remember, the fields like tax number, VAT number, and custom client number are driven by the selected BoP category. If you do not need to provide third-party details, simply select No. Before uploading your signature, save the form if you want to use it as a template for future monthly payments. Once all the mandatory fields are completed, you have 2 options for adding your signature. You can either upload your signature or use the fill-in sign option provided on the form. Kindly note that the signature uploaded on the BoP form must match the signatures that are held in the books of Standard Bank as per the mandates. If you select Yes to upload your signature, the form will be locked and you will not be allowed to edit it further. However, if you realize that 2 signatories are required, you should select No. Before adding the first signature, click on the plus button to create space for the second signature. This will enable you to forward the form to add the second signature. Once both signatures have been uploaded and you confirm with yes, the form is now locked and you will not be able to edit the details that have been completed. Now that the form is complete, it needs to be saved as a .pdf format before sending it. To save the form, click on File and then select Print. Choose the printer option and from the drop-down select Microsoft Print to PDF. Click on Print and save the form as a .pdf. Once the form has been saved, you can now close the form and access the saved document. Click on the saved document and now you are ready to email it to ottpaymentrequest@standardbank.co.za with your associated documents. The team will review and complete your outward payment request. Congratulations! You have successfully completed the balance of payment form and submitted it for processing. If you have any further questions or need assistance, please feel free to reach out to our support team at Standard Bank.